What's up, Bulls Nation? Peck here, CHGO Bulls at CHGO headquarters. We're about to break down the Bulls' blowout loss to the Dallas Mavericks, 119-99. Turnover fest for the Bulls. Coby and Ayo both ice cold from the floor. Luka, Gafford got whatever they wanted. We're breaking it all down next. CHGO Bulls postgame. What's going on, Bulls Nation? Welcome into CHGO Bulls postgame, coming to you live from our studios here in West Loop, downtown Chicago. I'm Peck, Bulls_Peck. That's Big Dave. Bow. BAWL Sports.
Bow.
Will Gottlieb. Perfectly coiffed. Will_Gottlieb. Queen on the controls, the one and only Katie Duffy. Thanks for joining us on a Wednesday night. Bulls lose to the Mavs 119-99.
Yeah.
And it didn't really feel that close.
No, because
there was a 30-point deficit at one point.
Yes.
Bulls trim that down to 20. More respectable final score.
Yeah.
Guys, this is kind of pretty cut and dry in the trend of what we've seen so far through the Bulls' first now 8 games. They turned the ball over a ton, 23 times to be exact. I think the Mavs got close to 30 points off those turnovers.
Yeah.
The Bulls were ice cold from downtown. They played little to no defense. There's your result.
Yeah, they got their ass whipped. I mean, that's the bottom line of it. It was that third quarter was it. That's what really did it, and that's what really good teams usually do, is they come out in the third quarter and they put a foot between the cheeks, and that's usually how it happens. LB Twix, excuse me. Yeah, they got beat down, and Luka was clowning them. Kyrie was clowning them. Gafford was dunking all over them. Clay caught fire also in that third quarter because he was a little off in those first 2 quarters. So, yeah, they started off that third with a 13-0 run and just never looked back from there, man. And, yeah, that's what happens when you play a team like the Dallas Mavericks, who are really that good. When they get to rolling, man, they're just really hard to stop.
Yeah, I think last year we talked so much about the Bulls' formula for winning games versus losing games. It was obviously the 4 factors, right? It was, shooting efficiently, not turning the ball over, getting the free throw line more, and getting some offensive rebounds. And the Bulls just haven't really been able to do any of those things at a consistent level. There's games where they do, they don't turn the ball over and it looks good. And in addition to making a lot of threes, that can work. But obviously, they're just not going to win games when they go 12 of 42 from beyond the arc. I mean, you need to have some of that stuff go right in addition to the threes. If the threes aren't falling, that's kind of it. Especially when you're talking about, the points in the paint. They've been the worst team in the league at allowing points in the paint. The Mavericks were getting there at will. They weren't really keeping the Mavericks out of the mid. They weren't forcing them into mid-range shots. They only had 6 points in the mid-range. But it was just points at the rim, points from the free throw line.
60 to 48 in favor of Dallas tonight, points in the paint.
And that's the recipe. I mean, defensively, there has to be better resistance. Obviously, that's like the same statement as there has to be better rim protection. The personnel is just not there. It's not like a criticism of any individual or the group itself. It's just this team is not built to defend at a high level. It just isn't.
Yeah, they don't have those guys that can play that kind of defense, especially when that shot is not falling. It's just going to be a bad night. They're a team that has to get out and run, and they're a team that has to attempt and make a bunch of their threes. And they weren't really allowed to run like that. And when they did, they turned the ball over a lot, as you said, 23 turnovers. They had some breaks where they were like 2-on-1 and still couldn't convert. Just nothing clicked for them and nothing just went their way and nothing was going right. Coby had a just really tough game. Ayo also a tough game. Patrick Williams, I would say it's a tough game, but it was the usual game for Patrick Williams.
Classic Pat.
Outside of the 6 rebounds that he shot.
Career high.
Mind blown. But he had 8 points there and only 4 shots. for 4 hours today. Just not
My
great.
fingers hurt.
What's that?
Pat's fingers hurt.
Oh.
He can't hold a basketball.
Well, his back's going to be hurt because he just pulled bench duty.
Grab some pine.
Grab some pine duty. Huh? Anybody else back here? But Vooch did his usual. Had his double-double, 14, but he got a lot of that in the first half.
7 for 10. Yeah, I don't think I saw him in the second half.
right. I think he went home. I think he went to a barbecue after that, man. This game was pretty much all about Matas Buzelis. We'll get into that praise a little later because, we got a lot of it. But, yeah, Josh Giddey, everybody was just off. When you got two of your starters who did not attempt 10 shots, and Giddey had 9 and Patrick Williams had 4. Those are two of your starters, and they didn't get 10 shots up. You're going to lose the game. It's going to be a problem. And Coby 3 of 13 and Ayo 2 of 13. 10 attempts for Ayo from the three-point line. 10, and he hit 2 of them. He has struggled, and that brings
he was coming into this
12?
game, wasn't he shooting like under 20% from three?
Yes. And so that's in his last 2 games. He is 4 of 12 now. No, 2 because he didn't hit any in his last game. So 2 of 12 in his last 2 games, and man. And you're right, Julie. No more excuses for Pat. We don't do that over here no more. He don't get them excuses, man. He is what he is. That's power walking Pat. Like, I don't know what I'm watching. I'm tired of seeing the power walk up the floor, dribbling off his foot. I'm tired of seeing him do a bunch of stuff and fall down. I'm tired of him do things and then turn the ball over. He'll hit a couple of open threes to make his numbers look a little bit better. You're like, oh, he had 8 points. Oh, he had 13 points. Oh, yeah, because he only had 4 attempts and he didn't really do anything. So, he just disappears from the floor. We forget that he's out there. But, again, this is stuff we've been saying about him, and he just continues to do it. But, we ain't putting up with that shit.
He even had an ISO opportunity on Luka. No defensive ace, Luka Doncic.
Oh, man.
And Patrick passed out of it. Was like, I tried, guys. I failed.
DPOY, Luka Doncic, man.
Like,
first team all defense.
Julie said no excuses for Pat anymore. French Bulls TV. That Pat will no excuses tour was canceled quicker than the Oasis reunion tour. Oh my God. Alexander, all right, I'll say it. I'm officially out on P. Will. He has 0 bag offensively. He turns the ball over way too much. Matas, please take his starting spot. And you said we'll get to Matas later. The people in the comments want to talk about Matas now.
Well, then get into it.
Julie said that was painful, but I'm happy for Matas. French Bulls TV. We did wait until the second half to reach the 20-point deficit. They did. So there's improvement, I guess. On a more serious note, free Matas.
Freedom.
And Phillips and Terry. Wootage 84. Finally, Matas got minutes and produced. Who knows if he'll get the same opportunity next time. And I think that, what Wootage just said there, is what's key in this game. Bulls turn the ball over a lot. Bulls shoot poorly from 3. Bulls play little defense. Bulls lose. We've seen that formula already. What was different tonight is that Matas got minutes early, and he got an actual allotment of real minutes. 23 minutes. However, I want to say 6 of those 23 were garbage time. I would have preferred 6 more of those minutes in the first half.
Yeah.
When we saw him play 6 incredible minutes in the first quarter.
And then go sit down.
And then we didn't see him again until the second half.
Cheers.
We saw Torrey Craig get up off that bench and come into the game.
Who's that now?
Before Matas Buzelis got back in the game. And look, we've heard Billy talk about it. We've heard AK talk about it. Whether it's Matas or any of these other young players, we're not just going to give somebody minutes to give them minutes.
Sure.
They need to be earned.
Sure.
Okay. I mean, not all the way okay, but okay.
We get it. We hear you.
What do you call what Matas did in that first quarter? When he looked like the only Bulls player out on the floor who had his SHIT together, who was giving a damn, who was active on both ends, stuffed Luka on one of Luka. Only time Luka didn't get what he wanted tonight is when Matas Buzelis said no.
Yes.
That baseline drive he had after the pump fake, the little Euro step, cash.
Cash money.
Transition 3, cash.
Cash paper.
And that wasn't earning more minutes in the first half?
Yeah. I mean, how could you
the hell is that?
How you sit and look at Pat and say, no, you get those. You go back in and not look at that guy who was cooking and doing his thing, Will. Like, I just didn't get it, man.
So I agree with you guys that the Bulls should be playing Matas more because, what's the downside? Like,
what the hell are we doing here, Harry?
And I get that they're cognizant of, like, not wanting to overburden him or overwhelm him, make him lose his confidence. I think that's kind of his superpower at this point, that he just has unlimited confidence.
Yes.
So I'm not as worried about that. Obviously, they're closer to the situation, and there's stuff that we just can't possibly know being on the outside of things that could possibly be contributing to this. It would surprise me if he's not more and more in the rotation by January. He's going to be a bigger part of this, and I get the urgency to get him in there, especially when he played the way that he did today. The other thing is, with regards to Pat, I know the production is not there, and I know there's things that are frustrating, but you can't tell me that he's a worse defender or positional scheme defender at this point than Matas. And again, I'm not saying Matas can't get there. He needs reps to do that, and the only way to do that is to get those reps. But there's just a lot schematically that I think Patrick does that does not show up in the box score that does impact the game positively. And I was the first to call him out after last game when he was getting roasted by John Collins. I'm not saying that he's like Kawhi Leonard out there defensively, certainly not offensively, but I do think that we missed some stuff, just not fully understanding what the schemes are. And that's not an excuse. Patrick needs to be better, needs to be more productive. This is his opportunity to do it. But I don't think this is just okay, now I'm ready to give Matas all of Pat's minutes.
I get you. What do your eyes tell you when you sit there and you watch Patrick and you were sitting there watching Matas? I'm just on the defensive end.
Like I said, I mean, he's Matas. Oh, on defensive end, Matas is there was a play. It was his first bucket of the game. He got the rebound, pushed up the floor, entered it to Jalen Smith. I keep wanting to call him Jalen Williams, the Bulls have J-Dub.
Wishful thinking,
yeah. But he entered the ball and he just stood there. And then Jalen Smith was cut through. And it took him a second, and he did. But it's just those are the kind of things where it's the awareness and the pace of the game, making those quick reads, moving from action to action, from moment to moment within the game. That can be a difficult thing to do. I think the way to get there is to have him be out there and learn those things. So I'm not saying he shouldn't be, but I do think that it's more of a process than, and look, sometimes players get drafted at age 19 and they're ready to go right away. We just watched one who was like that, Luka Doncic. He was an MVP caliber player the second he stepped on the court.
I thought you were talking about Matas.
But not everybody's like that. And I think the Bulls are aware enough of how Matas is absorbing and processing all this information to where I am giving them a little bit of a benefit of the doubt in the first 2 months of the season.
Yeah, I'm looking, and I'm not disagreeing with you, and that's why I asked you about it defensively, because I saw the same thing. And I'm glad you came to the same conclusion that I had, because the conclusion was I didn't see anything that said, oh, he can't do this.
Yeah, it was
just about repetition, right, and him getting a chance to do it over and over again. When he first walked in, he got beat all the way down the floor. I think it was Klay Thompson or something, just beat for a layup because he wasn't looking at his guy behind him, and he got behind him and gave up an easy layup. And I was like, oh, yeah, that's a rookie mistake. That was my first thought was, oh, it's a rookie mistake. It's a guy who only plays 3 minutes. Yeah, he's going to make that move and make that decision. It's about him getting that time to make those mistakes. That's what it's about for me, allowing him to be out there on the floor long enough to fail at something like that and then build from that and then say, learn from that. Matas seems like that kind of guy. We talked about it, Matt, when we were watching him in the summer league. When we would watch him make those mistakes, we would say, oh, the next time we see him learn from those things. Yeah. And say, oh, I won't do that again. Oh, I won't do it on that side again. All right, I'll try it this way. So once you start giving a rookie his chance out there and allowing him minutes and allowing him time on the floor and not getting it in his head that if he makes a mistake, he's going to get snatched out the game. Once you remove that kind of thing from them, I think you're going to see a guy get better. I mean, that's just really how it kind of goes. Now, we don't know how it's going to go with Matas. You know what I mean? I think he's going to be a good basketball player. But regardless of it, we need to see him on the floor. He needs more time on the floor. And it's just the fact that, again, Patrick Williams, yes, scheme-wise, defensively, he can do more things. But damn, that dude don't look good out there. He just simply does not look good out there on the floor for the Chicago Bulls. And it's just like, what the hell are we doing, man? I'd rather see Matas fail than watch Patrick try to figure it out.
Man, that's a bar. I mean, they each ended up playing 23 minutes tonight, Pat as a starter, Matas off the bench. And again, a significant portion of that was fourth quarter junk time. But 8 points and 6 boards for Pat? Oh, By the way, you know where he had another curvy number in his box score? Because it was 4 turnovers.
Curvy.
Patrick Williams, 4 turnovers?
Wow.
You can't handle the ball. You barely handle the ball. How do you get 4 turnovers?
How do you do that?
Matas in the same number of minutes, 13 points, 9 boards, 2 steals, and a block.
Yeah.
1 turnover for the rookie to Patrick's 4.
Yeah.
And look, I know Bulls fans in their comments say, like, yo, bench Pat, trying to trade Pat, start Matas. I'm sitting here tonight telling you I wouldn't mind that at all. Let's go in a new direction. That's theoretically what we're supposed to be trying to do right now, right?
That is.
Play the kid. Play the freaking kid.
Play him.
Pat, would you like to, at some point, show me that you give a damn about your basketball career? But I also am aware that the Bulls did just sign Patrick to a $90 million contract.
Yes.
Somebody in the comments said he ain't worth that. It's a different discussion for a different day. The facts are the facts.
Yeah.
I just feel like
money runs this. Money runs all of this, and Pat is not like losing his job to a rookie after they sign him to a $90 million contract.
I just feel like I don't understand why people are still so mad about it. Like, he's just a role player.
Right.
Yeah. It's a role player check.
Yeah. Like,
and it's less than what we thought he was going to get anyway.
But like, even just being upset with, like, I just feel like he's a role player. I don't know why people are expecting, and if he starts to show that he can do more and then stops again, like, okay. But this has been who he is his entire career. He's had 1 game where he scored 30 points. Like, the idea that people are still, and he's had, like, you know, missed half of a season last year. I just feel like the fact that people are talking about it this way indicates to me that they still think that there's a star in there somewhere. And I think people need to move on from that.
Yes.
If he shows it, fine. But like, he's just a role player, and you need role players out there. You need 3D wings out there.
And like, look, I just want more minutes for Matas. I'm not saying bench Pat for Matas.
Yeah, I'm agreeing.
Play Matas more minutes.
I would play him over Giddey at this point.
Right in the sphincter. All right, we got to take our first break. When we come back, we're going to continue breaking down this loss, and he'll hear from our friend Uncle Will. That's coming up next on CHGO Bulls Postgame.
Oh, God, I work with these people.
What?
Chicago Sports Network, ladies and gentlemen. That's who we're sponsored by. The new home of the Blackhawks, Bulls, and White Sox games. CHSN will broadcast more than 300 live games per year across the Blackhawks, Bulls, and White Sox, and will feature a full lineup of original Chicago-focused sports content. They are Chicago-based, they are Chicago-built, and they're Chicago to the bone. And they're bringing it to every corner of Chicago across our beautiful 77 neighborhoods and beyond. At CHSN, Chicago comes first. Visit CHSN.com for more info on how to watch the Bulls, Hawks, and Sox games all season long. And after you watch the game like you did tonight, tune in to the post game of all of those teams right here on CHGO. We're also on Samsung Plus TV.
That's right. All you Samsung Smart TV owners out there.
I saw Katie showed us. So
easy peasy.
Was that the jingle?
It was. We'll get to that jingle. Like? Have you never heard the jingle before?
Like
I think I've heard it before.
You're always the one doing the jingling.
That's the flex.
Speaking of jingles, we love the jingle from Empire Today. Warm up those vocal cords, Katie. Empire! With Empire Today, you get shot with home convenience, the right product for your needs, quick and professional installation, and a low price guarantee. Empire Today is the best place to get new flooring, so of course, they have copycats amongst their competitors, but Empire cannot be beaten on quality, on service, on speed. So all their competitors try to do is advertise low-quality products that Empire simply won't even carry. Empire won't promise the lowest prices because anyone who does that is putting junk flooring in your home that they wouldn't put in theirs.
Jerks.
Empire's philosophy is to help you find what you need, not overwhelm you with thousands of choices and substitutes. What they leave out of their inventory is just as important as what they put into it. Check out also their virtual floor designer, a great way to see how new floors will look in any space in your home. It's easy. Just snap a picture and instantly see how new floors look with your furniture, with your decor, with your paints on your walls, all that jazz. They also service their own warranties. If any issue does arise, just call Empire. They'll take care of it. Schedule a free in-home estimate today. All listeners can receive a $350 discount when they use promo code CHGO. Restrictions apply. See EmpireToday.com/CHGO for details. 588-2300. Katie!
Empire Today.
Partial credit.
Well, yeah. She turned in something.
Where's your credit?
She turned in something.
Look, we have more important things to get to right
Not
now.
really.
Okay.
Nothing is more important than getting Katie to sing the Empire jingle.
Nothing. And I mean nothing.
Although,
Nothing.
I don't know, Uncle Will's dog might be.
That might be. Let's show the people what we talking
Let's
about.
bring in Uncle Will, Katie.
Hey!
Let's go. It's not the Go Talk hotline. It's the Uncle Will hotline.
This is weird being on the other side of this.
Hey.
The dog talk hotline right now.
What's up, Will?
Well, just to make sure Katie knows, there's nothing more important than paying the bills.
That's right. That's right. Got to keep those sponsors
You want to
happy.
sing it for us then?
Oh, he has. He's done it.
Empire.
There it is.
Oh,
There it is.
love it.
Is that your backup singer right there, Will? What's going on?
This is Birdie. Birdie is now 5 months old.
It's a
And
beautiful, beautiful dog.
Yes.
she her ears perked up and her head turned sideways like, what the hell?
Well, Will, please offer us your 2 cents on the debate we were just having before our first ad. The headline tonight was not that the Bulls got blown out. They turned the ball over a lot. You know, Luka went off. It's that Matas Buzelis got real minutes for the first time and looked pretty darn good doing it. What did you make of the rookie, and what do you make of his role on this team moving forward?
Well, I was able to watch a little bit of Billy's post-game press conference, and he talked about how he's trying to juggle, getting guys minutes. So, what I want to know is that, okay, if you're trying to juggle getting guys minutes, what is the priority of those individuals to get minutes? Listen, I always think that I will agree with him that, Matas needs to earn his minutes. But at the same time, there's just some matchups out there, and I thought tonight was a perfect example of a great matchup for him to play against very like players, similar style players. Just like I thought it would be a great idea for him to play against Cam Johnson from, the Brooklyn Nets. But, he really didn't get much run in that game. So I understand the score had something to do with it, but he got some early minutes as well. I mean, outside of that one pass where they threw over the top of him because he didn't get back quick enough to give up the layup, I thought overall his effort was outstanding. I thought he communicated well. You saw improvement throughout the game. And I hope that because of how he played, and you guys talked about, what did he have, 13 points, 9 rebounds, is that right? Yeah.
Yep.
That maybe that will entice Billy to play him some more and to give him some good run, not just, okay, I'm going to throw him out for 4 minutes. If he doesn't really produce, I'm not going to put him back in. But as I talked about, I'm not going to really rule on Patrick, and that's all I'm going to talk about for this game, just as using Patrick as an example until we get 20 games in. But why don't we put Matas in a position to where he's in the rotation for at least 8 to 10 games and let him play some consistent minutes so he can kind of get a chance to not only play, but just kind of relax and play. And, I remember when I was in his position, regardless of how well you were playing, when you heard that horn, you turned around and you're like, me? You coming to get me? I just got in the game. So you get depressed sometimes when you're not sure how long you're going to get to play, or if you come out and you're not, because then you go in, you're like, I got to make an immediate impact so that maybe my 4-minute stretch can go to 6 minutes, or if I play well enough, they'll put me in later. So give him some honest run, keep him in the rotation, let him relax, let him be able to play up to his standards, and then if he looks poor and doesn't play well, then okay, you've got your answer. But I think there's just too many unknown questions at the moment to really say, hey, he's not ready.
Yeah, I completely agree with you, Will. Watching him, and you saw the game kind of slow down for him after he hit that first shot. And as soon as that went in for him, everything just kind of chilled out because you saw him starting to do what we talked about he could do in the offseason, was that help defense, because he immediately comes over and gets that block on Luka. And then you just saw his offensive game just kind of take off. And he's not a great three-point shooter, coming in, but he shot well from the three-point line. But more than anything, Will, it was just the fact that he was in attack mode. And I think just having those minutes out there, and like you said, not looking over your shoulder the entire time when Taylor Horton Tucker is about to come in the game and you think he's taking your spot, knowing you're going to be out there on the floor, I think did wonders for him. And I'm okay with watching him make those mistakes. So I think my question is one similar to what I asked Will. Did you see any of the mistakes that he made out there on the floor as something that he couldn't grow from? Or is it just something that, he can just learn from those things as he continues to get more minutes and continues to get better?
I think it's just something that he learns from and can fix from, being able to play those consistent minutes. Now, and this is, I think, the biggest problem we have, Dave, is that, they're reshaping. They don't want to use the rebuilding word. But so technically, you're not trying to win too many games. So that's why and this is where I've my stance has changed. I'll admit in the past, I was like, no, you never try to lose games. But if you're an organization, which the Bulls are, and I want to make sure that everybody understands, I give Arturas credit. We tried this, and this. It's obviously not working. We're going in the wrong direction. I mean, you guys had who'd you talk to today?
Tim Legler.
Tim Legler. What he said? Purgatory. That's where they are. They're in NBA purgatory, play-in game. That's not where this organization should or needs to be. So when you come out and say that you're reshaping the roster and you're looking to make changes, then to me that sends a message. And maybe I misinterpreted the message that we need to play the young guys. We need to truly determine, how much talent and where these guys are, and if they're worthy of being here in the future, or if we need to try to trade them, or we need to bring people over top of them, to determine and now head in the right direction. So how do you do that? I don't think you can determine that by putting them in the G League, sending them down periodically. If you have a game in between, two of your NBA games, I'm all for that. He just needs to get as much run as possible. But, I think the biggest thing, like you said, Dave, the more minutes he played tonight, it just seems like he got more comfortable. And the reason why I say that, this is a little thing, okay? And this is where also body language plays a lot into it. And when you see, and I'll use myself as an example, okay? When you see slender men, for example, athletes, when they're playing and they're stressed, their shoulders are up by their ears because they're all stressed out. They're jacked up. They want to do a certain thing, and then as they start to relax and think things, as Dave you said, starts to slow down, all of a sudden you start to see their neck pop up. Like, oh, ET, hold on a second. But it's just a little thing that you just happen to notice when a player becomes more comfortable, he becomes a little more relaxed, and all of a sudden those shoulders kind of settle. And then in my opinion, you saw him play better the latter half of the minutes that he played. So, I would like them to come up him and say, all right, this is the deal, Matas. We're going to try to get you 12 to 14 minutes a game for the next 8 to 10 games and see where you guys are. And again, people are like, where do you come up with these numbers? This is kind of what I remember when the Bulls traded for Luke Longley and sent Stacey to Minnesota. They pulled me in as a starter and said, hey, if we're going to trade for Luke, we got to give him 20 games to see what he can do. And I think that also should apply to Matas, even though they didn't trade for him, but they drafted him. And I think you got to see where he stands and give, him an honest look and get the fans an answer. And not necessarily, from the fans, but give the organization an answer. Okay, where is this kid truly? Because I don't think you can evaluate that by just sending him down to the G League and see how he plays against G League talent.
Opinion, like how fast do you think the game is moving for him? Like, is this something that after 8-10 games, you feel like he could really get comfortable out there? Or do you feel like it's still going, like, it's hard for us to sit here and say, like, he's this far away because the game's moving fast. But when you've actually been on the court and you're seeing, especially with the pace that they're playing, like, is the game moving so fast by him that sure, he's going to have moments athletically. He's just really gifted and talented where he looks good. But for the most part, he's just kind of lost out there, or he's, he's a little late on rotations. He's late to cut, whatever it may be. Or do you feel like this is something that if you're giving him those 8 to 10 games that you're talking about, he could really, catch up a little bit?
Well, I think they would take 3 to 5 games of consistent minutes for him truly to adapt. But what would actually help that and expedite that process is if this team would play to their identity, which I'm not really sure they have over the last 3 games, quite honestly. Because we talked about it, the pace at which they want to play at is difficult. It's hard because it's almost like you constantly have to remind yourself, push. There's no, hey, let's take a couple plays off and just walk it up. No, you can't do that, because that also allows your opponent to rest and get their footing as well. But if the Bulls are actually initiating the pace like they're supposed to, I think that actually helps Matas offensively, number one. And number two, I think it helps them defensively because of the pace at which they're playing will speed up their opponent. And yeah, he's going to be late at times. He's going to miss a rotation. I mean, he probably doesn't even understand some of the terminology, quite honestly. He's got to stop and think about it. And what happens when you have to think? You're a step slow. So that's where repetition comes in.
Well, Perdue, we got to let you go. We got to get to an ad break, and I know you got to take that pup for a walk before bedtime for both of you. So glad you hopped in and gave us a few of your takes on tonight's game. We'll talk to you tomorrow, buddy. That's Will_Perdue 32, man in the middle.
Yeah.
Wait, say it again, Will.
I got a question.
What's the question? Make it quick. We got to go to a break.
Come on, man. How come you didn't say anything about my coif? I mean, I don't understand.
I was going to mention your flannel shirt there. It's looking good on you.
We love you, Will.
We'll hit you with a double coif compliment when we see you tomorrow, buddy. All right. Take care, Perdue. 4-time champ.
4.
We'll continue breaking down tonight's game on the other side of this break. Prize Picks?
Prize Picks.
Prize Picks!
That's what you're doing.
That's right. Tonight's show brought to you by Prize Picks, the best place to get real money sports action with over 10 million members and billions of dollars
with a B
of awarded winnings. Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. All you have to do is pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 100 times your cash. Run your game all season long with Prize Picks. Prize Picks also is the only real money daily fantasy platform with an injury insurance policy, so that your lineups stay in play even if one of your players gets injured. If your player leaves in the first half and doesn't return, Prize Picks keeps your lineup live. I saw that Ja left their game with a hamstring after he tried to explode the universe with a dunk, which he tends to do. When things like that happen, Prize Picks has your back and says, hey, we'll let you play out the rest of your lineup if you lose a player midway through a game because of an injury. Prize Picks also invented the flex play, which means you can still cash out if your lineup isn't perfect. You can double your money even if one of your picks doesn't hit. Luka Doncic, woo! Well, there you go. If you took more assists on his assist line tonight,
right?
There you go. Easy money.
Easy
money.
Like Sunday morning.
Download the app today. Use promo code CHGO to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. And it doesn't even matter if you win that $5 lineup. Just for playing it, you get $50 instantly. That's code CHGO to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, run your game.
And after you done had a successful time with Prize Picks, you feeling good. You feeling ready. You want to cut them lights down low. You want to grab your partner. You want to put on your favorite song and get it in the mood. And you do that with Blue Chew. It's an online service that delivers the same active ingredients as Viagra, Cialis, and Levitra, but at a fraction of the cost and in a chewable form. The process is simple. Sign up at bluechew.com, clickety-clack. Consult with one of their licensed medical providers, and once you're approved, you will receive your prescription within days. Blue Chew tablets are made in the USA, shout out, and prepared and shipped directly to your door. The best part? It's all done online. That means no visits to the doctor's office, no awkward conversations, and no waiting in line at the pharmacy. You can take them anytime, day or night, so you can plan ahead or be ready whenever an opportunity arises. Does it work? Don't you think you need to try it? Try it free for 1 month and see. And like I said, that special deal for the listeners, try Blue Chew free when you use that promo code ALLCITY at checkout. Pay just $5 shipping, ladies and gentlemen. That's BlueChew.com with the promo code ALLCITY, CITY, to receive your first month free. Visit BlueChew.com for more details and important safety information. And we thank Blue Chew for sponsoring this wonderful podcast.
Shout out to Blue Chew. My apologies for not knowing how to pronounce your name in the comments, but somebody is saying Big Dave needs to think about an award for losses because it doesn't seem like there's going to be a lot of Goon of the Nights this season. Well, hey, we got 3 Goon of the Nights in their first 6 games.
We did. Yeah. Did you expect that?
But now the Bulls have fallen to 3-5.
Yeah.
And they got to play the Wolves tomorrow.
They do.
They got to play the Cavs.
Yes.
The Knicks. Cavs again.
They got the Hawks in there.
Cavs real good.
They do. The Cavs were good. Yeah, they got the Hawks in there somewhere who just beat the Knicks.
Look, the thing that Dave was happiest about today is the Knicks losing to the Hawks.
Wait, can we go back to the Patrick Williams
please
Buzelis conversation?
I was about to recommend the same
Kate
thing.
said we got to go back.
Yeah, I just like
Caught that? Anybody?
there's just so much frustration with him in the comments and in Twitter and all of it. And I just I think people are gonna owe Marquet an apology. That's all I have to say about it.
That's you want to bring it back for? Okay.
I mean, it's like he's just that. I think the expectation, the draft slot, obviously that matters. You're looking for a star player if you're drafting in the top 5. But I think a lot of the things that he does well get completely overlooked because he's not dunking every single time he has the ball. And I just don't we don't have that expectation for a guy like Aya, who obviously is more productive and frankly better. But I don't know. I just feel like if you shift your expectations to how they're now paying him, which is role player money, right? They're not paying him to be a star. I think that tells you what the organization thinks of him. And they need him out there. Like they really do. They don't have another forward who can defend wings.
I think you're partly right. And
Yes.
you're 100% right about the Marquet thing. Like I tweeted from our team account that, Patrick's season high in points scored thus far is 13, and Matas had 13 in 13 minutes off the bench before he eventually got to 23 minutes. But somebody said, I'm sure somewhere out there Marquet has a comment about this. And I'm sure he did. Because Marquet was saying the whole time, look, he's just this guy. This is who he is. There's no ceiling that he has to break through.
He did.
There's no DeMar DeRozan being in the way. There's no this. There's no that. This is who he is.
That's what he said.
Especially on the offensive end. This is who he is. He's not going to turn into something else. And a lot of us said, maybe. Hopefully. Pretty please.
Maybe.
Hope and a prayer.
Give me some time. Let me see.
Yeah. And the thing about it that I do agree with you with, Goat, in that, hey, he's just a role player now. Sometimes this is what role players get paid to be role players in today's NBA and these, hugely rising salary caps. And I'm even fine with that. What I'm not fine with is a role player who gets a couple buckets, looks indifferent when he does get the ball.
That part.
Shows no effort whatsoever in expanding his offensive lethalness.
Right.
I can't add another move to my bag. I dribble to the right twice, and then I dribble the ball off my foot. Yes. I dribble to the left twice, get caught, and pass out.
Yes.
But again, what you're asking is for him to be a shot creator, and he's proven time and time again that's not in his game.
Again, even fine, I'll grant you that. If you're never going to be a shot creator, if all you're going to be is a 3-and-D guy who's an off-ball threat, can I get more than 6 points? Can I get more than 6 points?
That's it.
if you're also supposed to say that I'm going to hang my hat on the defensive end, can I get more than 4 or 5 rebounds on average?
Yeah.
Because, Matas grabbed 9 rebounds off the bench tonight. Patrick Williams, high right now this season in rebounds, 8. You know what Patrick Williams' game high for rebounds was last season?
Tim.
9. Season before that, 10. It's this milquetoast bullshit that drives Bulls fans crazy. It's not the contract of a role player. It's the Patrick.
Yeah.
For the love of God, do something.
Okay, but like Justin in the comments saying, people's starting power forward signed 5 years, $90 million. He's not just a role player. Like,
but that is a role player.
That's exactly what he is. That's a role player.
That's a role player,
again, role players are really important. Like, I think about the Mavs, and like Dorian Finney-Smith is a guy who I've compared Patrick to a bunch. And like, if Patrick can get to that point, that would be great. But like, Mavs fans were obsessed with him. They didn't want to trade him for 2 first-round picks. They viewed him the way that Bulls fans viewed Caruso the last couple of years.
Yes.
And obviously, there's a gap between that and what Patrick is.
Sure.
And I'm not saying that that doesn't exist. I'm not saying what Patrick's doing is like great. But I also think that if you reframe your perspective and think about him as another wing in the rotation who's got to play because basically there aren't any other forwards out there who can defend. And maybe Matas gets to that point, but he's not there yet. And hopefully he does. I think what Will was saying makes a ton of sense. Like, put him in the rotation for 8 to 10 games, see if he can get there. And if not, then maybe send him down and get him more reps. But then you at least know you're working on. But to take it back to Pat, I just feel like people don't like his personality or his demeanor. And I get that. You don't have to like that. But I also don't think that that's necessarily like who he is. If Pat was just like Colin Sexton out there ripping people's heads off, maybe people would like him more. But like, there's only one of those guys. And like the Bulls, we were talking about it today. Bulls don't really have anybody like that. I just don't get why Patrick has to be held accountable for something like that when that's just not who he is. Like, you're asking somebody to be somebody that they're not. And that just doesn't seem fair to me.
Yeah, I'm just asking him to have a post. I'm not asking, I don't feel like I'm asking a lot of him. Like, honestly, I've like my bar was set at like 13 points and 6 assists. And I'm like,
when
6 rebounds.
When Matas got to
like,
13
great.
points and 6 boards tonight, I looked at each other and we were like, that's a good Pat game right there.
Exactly. Yeah. Like, I'm not expecting all this kind of greatness from him. I'm not even expecting the shot creating, but I am expecting you not to dribble the ball off your foot.
Yeah, that's a huge problem. I'm
expecting you not to get lost all the time. I'm expecting you not to get cooked up by guys like John Collins on a regular basis out here.
Travis in the comments, that is honestly surprising the different amount of ways that Peck can cause a turnover.
Yeah, like it's wild to sit there and watch, and that's the stuff that I'm talking about. Like, I don't look at him as that anymore. That's when I put him on the no excuses tour. It was just like, dude, give me the posts. Show me that you want to be out there. Show me that you can do your thing. And again, you can be chill. You know what I mean? You don't have to be a rah-rah guy. I watch Tim Duncan do that all the time.
Ooh. Coming in hot.
Pat coming our way.
Just man.
Zawadzki trying to take my head off.
Yeah, man. He got issues. What you do to Jay Zawadzki, dog?
Like an odd job over there.
The funniest part is that wasn't even on camera because we were on an ISO.
Oh, okay. Oh, man. Oh,
Jay Zawadzki just almost took my head off with a hat.
He just came in with some business, right? Like, man.
Random task.
See me after the show is what he did to him. My God. Jay wasn't playing. But yeah, Jay wasn't playing.
I respect the aggressive hat toss.
Oh, it was very aggressive and nice. And the smoothness of it, the rotation of it, right on to him, man. Shout out to him.
It was Mahomes' rope.
But yeah, like I don't feel like I'm expecting all that from Patrick Williams, man. But I'm expecting him to not look at a game and say, "Oh, he had 2 rebounds," and I'm like, "Okay," and be satisfied with something like that.
He had 8.6 rebounds tonight.
Yes,
I think we're shortchanging him a little bit.
Did.
Again, I'm not like, I don't want to come off as like the massive Pat defender, but like Matas was second on the team in scoring tonight. Dalen Terry was third. He tied Giddey with 10 points. Like, Vooch led the team with 14 points. They just couldn't get anything.
Yeah, they couldn't get anything.
And again, Patrick hasn't done this all year, so it's not like this game is like the big difference. But I don't know. I just feel like,
I mean, we've seen him disappear on the floor. Like, that's happened. That's a fact. Like, he will go away. and we don't realize he's even out there doing anything.
Thank you.
That's not me, putting more stuff on him. That's like, dude, show me you out there.
We do have another P. Will defender in the comments, Rob Antol, saying, so basically P. Will in 4 shots has to try to help his plus minus. Who's the reason why Pat only took 4 shots tonight? Is it Pat? Because I think it's Pat is the reason that Pat only took 4 shots tonight. Because I swear, he had the ball in his hands all the time.
He did.
I saw him with the ball in his hands countless times tonight.
Yeah.
Took 4 shots, turned the ball over 4 times.
Yeah.
I also saw Rob mention, like, hey, P. Will has 1.6 turnovers per game. That's second lowest of the starting 5.
Yeah.
Whoop-de-frickin-do.
Yeah.
What, you want, a cookie? This team is plagued by turnover problems everywhere. Josh Giddey had a bad night. He had 5.
Yeah.
Zach already has 2 7-turnover games under his belt this season.
Yeah.
But you're not talking about one of your starting guards. You want me to praise Pat for only averaging 1.6 turnovers per game?
Given the amount of usage he has, it's like, that's probably a lot. For how much he has the ball, that's probably too many. And that's because the dribbling is a problem. Again, I'm not trying to say that Pat is out here like really impressing me. That's not the case. But
this is all we're saying.
Yeah.
Like, he's not impressive.
I think we're all kind of saying the same thing.
Yeah,
I just feel like and again, I'm not disagreeing with you, but I think that he just kind of is what he is at this point. And like, it's on him now to show us otherwise. But just because he hasn't shown us otherwise doesn't mean he's like negatively impacting the game. Like I made the comment about Giddey before we went to Will. Like to me, and obviously it's not apples to apples, but like Giddey to me is negatively impacting the Bulls now more than Patrick is because he's got the ball more. His usage is higher. He's turning the ball over more. He's, more of a damaging defender. Like, and the Bulls need his skill set out there more because they need a point guard. Right. And the reason he was drafted 4th is because at the time he was a player that had upside and that hasn't come to fruition. Guys that happens all the time. Yeah. This is his 5th year in the league. Like it's a different scenario now. Yeah. But yeah, with Giddey, it's like, it's tough to see. Obviously he does stuff well and I don't want to like minimize that, but there's also areas where he's really damaging. And I mean, before the game, he was minus 17.7 on off net rating swing. So the Bulls are almost 7 points per 100 possessions better with him off the floor on offense and almost 11 points better with him off the floor on defense. So he's hurting him out there. And that was the big thing for me. It was like, can you be a positive impact player? And not only has he not done that, he's been massively damaging. He's 11th percentile. 11th percentile.
Yeah.
Josh Giddey.
Travis in the comments, meanwhile, is like, hey, Giddey and Pat will guarantee the Bulls keep that pick. G Manifesto saying, I am the original P. Will fanboy. I am done. P. Will supporter, is that you? Did you change your name on YouTube?
P. Will
haven't seen P. Will supporter around.
Used to be on one.
Every night he would come in here like rolling up his sleeves, like putting up the dukes. Like, Pat had 3 points and 2 boards tonight, and he looked great.
And that's kind of who Will's talking to, though. Like about that aspect and expecting those kind of things from him. I just want him to look like he belongs out there on the floor sometimes. Because sometimes he just gets lost, and sometimes it just looks wrong. Even some of the passes, when I watch him pass the ball, and I kept saying, that's a bad pass. That's a bad pass. That's a bad pass. Oh, that's a good pass. Oh, that's a bad pass.
Look, I'm not accusing Pat of putting in no work in his game in the offseason.
He obviously works. Yeah, no doubt about it.
But why are his handles the same as they were when he was a rookie? Why is his shot? You're saying he's never going to be a playmaker. That's fine. Needs to be an off-ball threat. If he can't dribble,
hasn't done that.
What?
Not saying he can never do it. I'm just saying he hasn't done it.
Sure. Okay. But so if he still cannot, and he never learns to be a playmaking kind of threat, at least be an off-ball threat, catch and shoot. And Pat has proven and steadily increasing the rate of attempts that he can be a knockdown 3-point shooter at times. But why is it when everyone else, maybe an exaggeration to say everyone else, but we've seen plenty of people on this Bulls roster, especially over the last year and change of Peter Patton being here, putting work into their shot form. Io turned himself into a 40% 3-point shooter last season.
He did.
That's one example of many. Patrick still has the same slow-ass release on his 3-point shot 5 years into the league. That's the kind of stuff that drives me crazy. Because, again, I'm not accusing him of not putting work into his game in the off seasons. But every year he shows up, and it's the same damn player. Why?
Why, ladies and gents?
And I think that's why I am one of many who has
But
always
again,
wanted to
I
believe in
think-
Pat and is reaching his freaking breaking point.
Again, I think that what you're still after is untapped potential. You're looking for, why is his shot not better? Why isn't he better off the dribble? Like,
Your argument
Agreed.
is there is no more untapped potential.
I'm
And
just
that's
saying,
okay.
I'm not saying there is no more untapped potential, because I never want to put a cap on like who a player can be or can they get better. We've seen that happen too many times for me to say it's impossible. But I think it's a lot easier to evaluate what Pat does and not what you hope he can do, because those are two different things. And there's been like, people have talked about like the flashes with Pat a bunch. Like, that's like a play in a game in February, like for, 2 possessions in a row or something. It's not like he's had like one really breakout game, and that was his rookie year. That was 4 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't think it's fair to be evaluating everything based on that game, or him being drafted 4th overall, or how much better you think he can get, or how much more of a dog in him you want him to have. Like, that's just, evaluate him as he is.
Yeah.
And I think it will be a lot more palatable.
Yeah.
Wait, hold on. But even in the evaluation of what he is, what is the evaluation of him then?
I think he's a role player who has underwhelmed. I think he has not defended as well as he can. I think he has not shot the ball as well as he can. He's 31.2% from the field, 29% on twos. He will get better. He will get better on that. Historically, he has been much better on that. But again, as I told you guys, he did not scrimmage 5-on-5 until late August, early September.
Yes, correct.
He's still working his way back into shape. He's got the shoulder thing. I'm not writing him off as even as a role player right now.
Yeah.
And again, he has not met or exceeded expectations of that even.
Yeah.
Yeah. And again, like, expectations. And I think that is why this has been so frustratingly framed by Bulls fans. 4th overall pick for a team that desperately needed some breath of life. Because that 1920 season, some of y'all were there watching with us. Shout out to you, Late Night Outsiders crew, because that was a ugly season.
We were there.
Patrick Williams was the reward for enduring that season.
Yeah.
Year 2 of the bald-headed menace. We all endured that together, and we were like, oh, my God, hey, it's not the number 1 pick, but we moved up a little bit. We got the number 4 pick. Let's go.
Yeah.
Hopes are coming back. Vibes are coming back. Who are we going to get? Oh, my God, we have a new front office to make this draft pick for us? Yeah. We finally got rid of John and Gar? Much way too late, but we found, oh, my God, fresh life, fresh blood everywhere. And all of that excitement and expectation went right onto Patrick Williams' shoulders the night he was drafted. Yeah, and I'm not saying that that's fair for Pat. It's probably unfair for Pat.
Definitely.
But Eco being here in the comments is saying, just rattling off some of these names in that 2020 draft class taken after Patrick Williams. You all know the names because it's Halliburton. It's Maxey. All NBA caliber players. Not to mention Desmond Bane, Emmanuel Quickley. Talent on talent on talent on talent taken after Pat, who have produced more than Pat through their rookie contracts, who have gotten new contracts that are, shall we say, more aggressively earned than the one Pat got from the Bulls this summer.
That, to me, is a person who drafted him and not player who got drafted.
That was the last part of my point.
Yeah.
That is not on Pat. That's on the people that drafted him at that position.
He's been ass. That's what it is, bro.
I can't argue with that.
I mean, that's it. Like, that's for me, that's the whole end of all of it. I can argue all this other stuff and all these other things, dude. He's been ass. That's the point of it. And I watched him get benched last year before playing this way. And you're right. Like, he hasn't been. I get all of that stuff, man. But again, for me, my mindset is different, Will, because again, I'm not giving no excuses. Like, I'm just not there no more, dog. Like, I gave all that. I handed all that to him, even just to get to this year and be like, okay, show me a little something, just a tiny morsel of something. And it's been bad. You know what I mean? And so I can't sit and give more of that, dog. Can it get better? God, I hope so. God, I hope so. Show me a little something else. If it goes up to 4 rebounds, I'll be ecstatic. Like, he gets an extra point, I'll be ecstatic. But from what I'm seeing on the floor, there's been a regression of some kind.
Yeah.
Because just watching from the guy that I saw that rookie season, this is a totally different kind of ball player. Maybe it's the injuries, maybe it's the wrist. I had a friend who had that kind of similar injury, who was a ball player, who told me at that time that Patrick won't be the same player. He said he will never be the same. He will not be fully recovered from this. I'm not a doctor, you know what I mean? So I can't sit there and be like, well, that's what the problem is. I don't know. But all I know is he ain't been the same. That's what I do know. And the injuries have kept coming for him. And they have definitely hurt his game. But man, dog, he just ain't been it. Role player-wise or expectate, whatever you want to put on it, it's been pure D 100% ass.
The last way I'll put it is like I saw some comment like, Will, he is a bust. Like, okay, he is not a star player. The bust thing, that's like expecting he's a star. And like, if you want to do that, fine. But like, to me, James Wiseman from that draft is a bust.
That's a bust.
Marvin Bagley, who was drafted second overall ahead of Luka Doncic, is a bust. Those guys are like not NBA players or not productive or like just, third string caliber players.
Yes.
Patrick is a bust in the sense that he's not a star player. But again, I think that minimizes that he can be a very good role player. Now, has he been a very good role player to this point?
Yeah.
No, he has not been good at role player stuff this year. And that's a problem too.
Yeah.
But I think that's a separate problem. And maybe it's actually not a separate problem. Maybe that's what people are frustrated about. He needs to be better about that. I still think he can be a good role player. But to me, like, there's a big gap between Patrick, who's obviously gotten a second contract, who's going to be in the league for 7-10 years, making good money and playing 20 plus minutes a game because he's an important archetype of a player, versus a guy like James Wiseman or Marvin Bagley, who are third strings on bad teams.
Okay, but then looping that back around to what we started with tonight, which is the Bulls' current rookie, Matas Buzelis, and what he showed us tonight. I think that's why Bulls fans get incited with this rage of like, yo, look what Matas just did tonight in modest minutes off the bench. And like, how often have we even gotten that? In 4 years of Patrick Williams, how often has he given us that stat line that Matas gave us tonight? The first time Billy actually lets him out of the cage a little bit.
And I think like with Matas, we're talking about, and I've said this before, if we're talking about like any inkling of star potential on this team, I think he's the one that's got it. And so absolutely they should be exploring that. But I also think that they are doing that, and we can disagree with it, but that's the best way that they feel like they can do that, is by not throwing him out there. Like, they don't feel like he's ready for that. And maybe they're wrong. Maybe that will end up being the right thing. Maybe in 3 weeks' time, we're looking back at this and laughing because he's playing 27 minutes a night and he's out there and he's making a huge impact. But it's 7 games into the season right now. He's overwhelmed physically, clearly,
yes.
And the pace of the game is moving really fast. And again, I think that I think he has a chance to be a very good player. But like, to me, the downside with Matas is that maybe he's not able to really be out there because he's not as steady of a contributor defensively, because the 3-point shooting is not there, and because the on-ball creation stuff never came together. Whereas Patrick, the floor was always going to be a little higher because he could defend and shoot threes. And he just didn't happen to expand the other stuff. That's the stuff that's going to get you on the floor. And that's, to me, why he's not a bust at all. He's a role player. He didn't turn out to be a star, which maybe they wanted, but he is a good player. And with Matas, like, I think you're looking at a different thing because he still has that star potential. Whereas I don't feel like Patrick really does anymore. He's 23 years old. He's been in the league for, this is his 5th year. It just doesn't really work that way. And so they need to explore that. They need to find that. They need to see if that's in there. And yeah, we're going to have, 75 more games to talk about it. But I think they're going about this the best way that they feel like they should.
Yeah. And I get the idea of not throwing him to the wolves, Matas, not putting him out there and saying, okay, do it now. Yeah, because some guys are ready for it and some guys are. We saw they thought Ayo was ready for that, and so they put him out there and they kind of threw him to the wolves. His rookie season.
He was a 3-year college player who was like,
he was older than Kobe. You know what I mean? Like, we understand. They threw him out there and they threw him to did his thing. I get that. I do like when I saw him out there matching up against Giannis. Like, I like that kind of stuff because at some point in time, you gotta push the bird out the nest, man. And you gotta see if, and let them fly. You know what I'm saying? I'm a peacock. And you gotta see if they can fly out there, man. And I don't have a problem putting Matas in those situations and letting me see him not be great in that situation. I'm okay with that. I'm completely all right with that. I'm completely all right with that with a lot of rookies. Like, it's okay because I know you're a rookie. I know where I'm at and what I'm working with here. But it's other stuff I'm looking at. You give up that, you give up that, you give up that. Cool. How do you come back from that? How do you recover from that? Because how do you recover from getting like 3 straight fouls in 3 minutes? How do you recover from those things? How do you recover from airballing your first 2 shots? You know what I mean? Like, I want to see how you recover from those things during the game, not just during a fourth quarter when the game is over, but during an actual game. Watching what Matas has done, I watched the game be too fast for him, and like you said, too physical at some times for him.
Too fast, too physical.
What I saw him do
Paul Walker
today, yes, shout out. What I saw him do today, I saw him say, okay, I'm going to try something a little bit different, and I saw him slow down a little bit. I saw him let the game kind of come to him a little bit. I saw him attack the basket. He said, I'm not going to stand out here and shoot. Because remember, when he first was out there, he would just stand out on the baseline and just shoot threes. That's it. That's all he wanted to do. And I was like, cool. This time, I got the ball, and Matt is over there screaming, go ahead, Matt. And he did it, and he went to the bucket, and he scored. As soon as that happened, everything slowed down for him.
Yeah.
Defense came up. More offensive shots came up. Rebounds started doing things like that. Getting out on the break, setting those screens for his guys, getting on the floor and scrapping a little bit. Yeah, put him out there. I just want to see more of this stuff, man.
But at the same time, like, if you're frustrated with Patrick being like granted minutes and not having the sense of urgency, then you can't also sit there and say, I'm not saying you're saying this, but people in the comments, you can't sit there and say, but just give Matas minutes and he'll have that same approach. Like, I do think that you can't really have it both ways in terms of gifting guys minutes and then also having the sense of entitlement. The other thing with Matas is, like, if you're frustrated with Patrick only having one move, well, I hate to break it to you, Matas only has one too. I can tell you. And that is that one drive into the lane, turn back and spin Dirk fade, which he airballed last game and then got yanked. So, like,
almost made it today.
Almost made it today.
Also, he's a rookie.
And he's a rookie, and he hit 3 threes out of 4.
And I saw him try to dunk on their entire team also. That's also a move.
I'm just saying, like, Matas had a great preseason game in Milwaukee. Yeah. He had one great summer league game. Everything else has been, like, not quite great. And I think that people get really excited about the highlights. They get really excited about the dunks. They get really excited about the stuff that they can see. And they also get excited about the star potential, which I think is definitely there. Yeah. So I'm not, like, dismissing that either. But I do think that we're just going to have a little patience with him because it's going to be a process given the speed of the game and the physicality of the game.
Fair enough. I mean, this fan base is starving for something to believe in. Yeah. And it's no longer Patrick Williams. I think that's the general consensus. We got to get out of here, but shout out to Danny STG who threw us a super chat in the comments because I think his comment pretty much wraps up how we all felt about tonight's game. Pat is not a role player as he plays no role. Hashtag Matas. I'm going to push back on the Pat plays no role whatsoever, but that seemed to be the vibe of the comments tonight. Pat, Matas, get him out there. Shout out to everybody who took advantage of our great promo to become a CHGO diehard. I'm rocking my diehard hoodie tonight.
He is.
It's a nice item, an exclusive item.
And looks amazing.
Could be yours. Thank you, buddy.
Yes.
You look amazing, too.
Well, thank you.
Great Bulls hat.
I appreciate that.
I think, so coming into our final day of that promo of offering $4 a month for dieharddom, we had over 1,500, and then we had another 300 signups after that. So nearly 2,000 new people signing up to become CHGO diehards, which is wonderful, awesome stuff. We appreciate each and every one of you guys who signed up. No worries if you missed out, if you're on the fence, if you haven't made up your mind, because we are going to be running another promo for Black Friday around the Thanksgiving holiday, another diehard promo to get the very best of Will Gottlieb's writing and reporting for diehards only.
He'll make you smart.
For the Discord lounge, for the discounts on merch, for
that's fine too.
The discounts on our events, including takeovers coming up for the Bulls and the Blackhawks, all that jazz. My producer, our lovely producer, Katie, is telling me to tell y'all before we head out of here,
hit the like.
You need to hit that like button, y'all.
The
You need to hit the like button for Matas.
Yeah.
You need to hit it for Uncle Will for joining us for a while tonight. You need to hit it for Uncle Will's dog,
The boxer.
who's probably just
Hit the like if
exhausting
you
Uncle
hate
Will to no
Patrick
end.
Williams.
That'll get you guys to do it.
Hit the like if you think Patrick Williams is a bust. Hit the like if you think Patrick Williams isn't a bust but needs to show you something more.
Yeah.
I said that, and they didn't even like it for that. I said, if you don't like Patrick Williams, like this stream, and they did nothing.
Well, hit the like if you want
You need to
see
show the
Matas play
Gremlins
more.
graphic. You need to show the Gremlin graphic. I think that'll get them to do it.
Troll Joe.
Troll Joe.
Joe will steal your thumbs.
Yes, you.
Give him the thumbs.
Bow.
Do we need Joey to make us a Katie troll?
Oh yes.
Grab
oh my
it.
God. Yes.
Because
Troll
there's
Katie,
a new
yes.
master of the thumb
There's a new
chest.
master in the cave. A new guardian of the thumb.
Yeah. Yes, exactly.
Oh, Troll Katie is on the way.
Oh my goodness.
We will talk to Joey.
Yes, we shall. Anyway, sign up to become a diehard to get all the great perks and all the discounts. Appreciate everybody who did take advantage of that great sale. Shout out to Justin, who said, love you guys, keeping us all sane in a world of incredulity.
Thank you.
Appreciate that. Julie C saying, thank you guys. Have a great night. Thank you.
Thank you.
And
You have a
thank
great
you,
one, too.
Kimberly, Rob, all the other regulars.
Shout out
Flex
Argentina.
Diggs, Travis, everybody. Appreciate y'all for tuning in. Bulls are back at it tonight, tomorrow night, and so are we.
Yes.
Tip-off 7 p.m. Central against Ant and the Minnesota Timberwolves.
Ooh.
That means we're here live for pregame at 6:30 Central. We
Uncle
will see
Will.
you then. Get some sleep. Have a great night. Talk to you tomorrow. See red. Be good. Play Matas!
Peace and love, y'all. More likes.
Matas!
Troll Katie.
Matas!
We all silly like the mayor.